What is up, and welcome to Twin Dragon Podcast Show. We're your hosts. My name is Mike.
And I'm Bobby. The show will be about two young working professionals going through the craziness of life. We'll have fun conversations about current events and what's happening in our lives. So, why do you want to know more?
Well, if you're bored at home, eating, or just chilling, and want to listen to something new, you've come to the right place.
Hey guys, my name is Bobby.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome back to the podcast.
And today we have a really special guest with us today. His name is Leon. He is in Canada right now, and he's a digital artist, an illustrator. And we have him on a show today, and we're going to ask him a couple questions about what he's been doing and how he got to where he is. Hopefully, any of you guys who are out there who's interested in digital art, as you know, it's getting really, really popular, can get some insights from him, some tips, and he can share his wisdom with us. So, Leon, how'd you get started in drawing?
I would say I've always really been interested in like pretty artistic side of things. I think like starting when I was like 2 or 3, I remember like sketching out my grandpa's face on like a little piece of paper. And my parents was like upset because like the walls were just covered in crayons, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So yeah, they were very happy about that. But so I've always been drawing, but moving on to digital art was something I picked up more so in the past like 2 or 3 years, I would say. Well, I would say like a lot of my stuff I really just started like fundamentally like just pen and paper, or like pencil and paper, I guess more so. Yeah, pencil and ink was mostly what I worked on before I transitioned to like digital art.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you take art classes or anything like that?
Yeah, I think like once I got like pretty into it, like my mom was just like, maybe you should just, like learn from somebody that's professional, And so like I did go to one teacher, and he was like, he like had his own like gallery, his own like store and everything. But like the stuff that we drew was just, like a cube or like a sphere,
Yeah.
like that. And then so I got really bored really quickly because I was just like I'm literally drawing like a circle for like 2 hours,
Oh wow.
And then my next teacher was a lot more like I guess like geared towards like how his like students think. So like the stuff we were drawing was like from like movies, like prop vehicles or like Iron Man statues or like whatever. So it was like a lot more interesting to like look at it and then draw. But yeah, those are like and like both of those lasted like maybe just a couple months. But those are like pretty much like the only classes I kind of like took for art. Yeah.
How old were you when you did that, or when you started out?
For digital art or
class in the classes, like
maybe when I was like 12.
Wow.
And then like the second time maybe when I was like 14, maybe. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Well, I guess like when did you start transitioning to the digital art, and what makes it better?
I guess it was kind of halfway through college, I think. I was really just, like by then I had one of those Wacom drawing pads that's not screen, that you just like you link it up to a laptop or whatever, you could like see it on your screen. But like, yeah, like one of those, but like I think the fact that like my hand was here and what I'm seeing was over there was just like it like my brain was having like a hard time putting it together. So I wasn't really interested in doing that. But once I got the iPad Pro with the pen, you could like look, my cats are here. Like once you get the pen like on the screen and you can see like exactly what you're drawing, I guess that was like a lot closer to like I guess fundamental drawing. So I like that a lot more. Digital, I really got to like experiment, I guess, with color, because working with just pen and paper, it's usually just black and white, or gray with pencil, you have different shades of gray with the pencil. And so I think just like the whole concept of putting color onto my pencil drawings back then was just such like I can't, this is way too much, but now it's, I've been like learning like more color theory, like learning like how like light hits certain places and like colors change color under different light, different textures and whatever. And so learning that was definitely like, it's helped improve, I guess, like my artistic understanding of things, So like it's definitely pushed some boundaries over there, which I'm happy about. And then at the same time, like it really streamlined a lot of processes, because like back then, if I was drawing like a rough figure, and then after the rough figure, I want to go and put in the details, right? But then I have to go erase the rough figure lightly so I can still kind of see some of it, and I go in with it. And then, which is why I like working with ink, because like ink on pencil at the end, it's a very like defined black line, right? You could be like, that's the picture I've drawn. You can erase everything else. So, but now with digital art, you can have 50 layers, and then before you get to like where you want to be. So it really helps with like, like at least with how my brain works, like in terms of how I draw. So yeah.
Just for the audience, like what was it like living in, different places, in different parts of your life? And what was the best part about it?
I guess with living in different parts of the world, there's there's pros and cons with everything, right? I would say that like I would say like when I was living in America, there's like a lot of people who just like that's like their whole life. Maybe they've traveled to a couple of the states, maybe to like a couple other countries, but for the majority of their life, they're in like this area, which means that they have like a very like strong foundation of like a support group, like their family, their friends, blah, 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 whatever. But, what they're missing out on is like, I guess like a more like worldly perspective, because, you're sitting in like one place all the time, you're not going to see much, I guess it's kind of like the idea of like, you can read as much as you want about something. You can have like a very like full textbook understanding of something, but unless you're like really there, it's not something you really can like fully grasp. But if you get that, then you're not gonna have a lot of friends or like whatever, because you're traveling all the time. Like the connection that you make are usually just so temporary, because you're like here for like a couple of years, and then you gotta move. And then that's not to say that people don't keep in contact with one another, but like you meet so many people, like not everyone's gonna put in like all the effort to stay in contact with you. And after like 10 years, something like that, like you lose touch with a lot of them. So, but I think there's pros and cons to everything, but living in so many different places is fun, like it's fun to see a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
But and then like I think it's put me on this track of like now I just want to see more. Like now for the rest of my life, I think I'm just gonna be like, okay, what's the next country I'm gonna go to? Like what's the next place I'm gonna go see?
That's
so
cool.
And just for the audience, you've been to Taiwan, Canada, US, and England. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's where I've lived. Yeah.
Okay, but you've probably traveled to many more places than that.
Yeah. There's so like most of like when you go to Europe and you do like a little like European tour, like that's like 7-8 countries right there.
Yeah.
And then some of like the more interesting places I've been to. I think there was one New Year's where my parents took us to Egypt.
Oh wow.
For New Year's, which was pretty cool. I went to Uganda when I was in high school for like a missions kind of trip. We went there to like help out like an orphanage and whatever. Almost died there.
Oh wow.
Just on a river.
Wait, how did you almost die?
Yeah, I mean, like we were just caught in the middle of like a monsoon while we were on a boat.
Oh.
And it was just we were like stranded, and like there was like radio was down for like 2 hours. There was no rescue. Fun times. And then yeah, and then I guess like Russia was pretty cool as well. Yeah.
Where in Russia did you go?
I went to St. Petersburg and I went to Moscow. Yeah.
Wow.
And I want to go back because one of my best friends is from Moscow. So yeah.
Wow. Man, you've traveled to so many places.
Yeah.
Cultured.
Just a little.
Just a little. So now you're in Canada, in Toronto, right?
Yeah, just like Richmond Hill, so like a little bit just outside of Toronto. Yeah.
Gotcha. And that's where your family is?
No, my family is like all over the place. Like some of my family's in England right now, and then some of my family's in Taiwan right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so what's your kind of like day-to-day look like then?
Most of the time I wake up like early as hell to feed the cats. And then usually I can't fall back asleep. But usually I have to work like at 7 or 8 in the morning anyways, so it's not a big deal. And then I go to work and then I come back. It depends on what my shift is. Sometimes I work 8 hours, in which case when I come back, I'm just like exhausted. I don't want to do anything. But if I'm working like 4 or 5 hours, I'll come back. maybe draw a little, maybe like exercise a little, and then yeah, I mean, like right now, most of the stuff that I'm doing right now is mainly building up a portfolio,
Mm.
which is a very long time take. Like it's a very long process. So that's basically what I'm spending at least like probably like a year doing, just building a portfolio, and then afterwards I can have something, I guess, like good to present. Because like a portfolio, like you're picking like your best pieces, right, to put in your portfolio. So I have to draw like 50, 100 pieces and then pick like the 10 or 15 that
Yeah.
ends up being.
What do you kind of do for work?
Oh, I work at a grocery store right now.
Oh, okay,
No,
gotcha.
yeah. But like it's like when people like they do like the online shopping and then we just fill up their grocery bag and take it out to their car.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I
Gotcha.
do.
And what is sort of your goal for your art? Like where you want to kind of go?
I mean, I'm like I would say I'm pretty like open in terms of like the artist because like I want to be able to explore different like aspects, right? And so I think that like since I studied like theater in
Mhm.
college, like I do have, I guess, like certification, like I'm more like qualified for like this type of job because I studied it for like 4 years.
Mm,
Um, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of art stuff, degrees don't usually matter. Like
right.
art stuff is a lot of time. Like I think art, same with like a lot of like trade skills. Is just like if you can prove that you can do a good job, you know, that's all the proof that like your employer really needs. I guess also if you could do it on like a good schedule and like good communication skills, all that other stuff. But yeah, like generally, you want to just be able to prove that you can do the job well, right? That's all.
Yeah.
Like that's all you. But like with like science and math and stuff like that, like you definitely need like degrees and so many masters. And I just suck at school. I'm terrible at school. The education system was not made for people like me. So yeah, I mean, like I was in England, and so I was in a private school in England at one point, and I was like it was just British kids everywhere. Like I was like the only like one of like the one or two Asian kids in the entire school, and like I was still bad at math. Like
No. Yeah, I guess kind of moving forward, what are some of the things that inspire you to draw?
I guess inspires me to draw. I guess there's just like like an innate like want to like make something, to create something. I think that like because I think beyond like just like a technical like drawing skill, which I enjoy like working on and improving. I think that like I think like we're all kind of like storytellers in our own way, right? And
Mm,
so I think that like coming up with stories that ultimately have like a good message, and stuff like that. I think, it's like the creation of something that you can share with
Mm.
people. And like I think that's kind of what like motivates me to like make stuff. Well, if we're talking like, like an artistic, inspiration, Vincent Van Gogh, stuff like,
I
you know,
saw that. Yeah.
I think that like for me, I'm one of those people. It's kind of weird with Van Gogh for me because like for Van Gogh, like I think his art's great, but like I'm not a fan because of his art. I'm a fan of like who he was like as an artist. Like his idea as an artist. And I think that like I think Vincent Van Gogh perpetuated the idea of like this tortured artist idea, right? Like you have to suffer for your art type deal. But like I think there's a lot of misinformation regarding his death as well. Like people think that he killed himself, right? But like most of the forensic evidence would suggest otherwise, that he probably didn't kill himself. But yeah, like I think that for me, like in the beginning, I was very much like, oh yeah, Vincent Van Gogh, you gotta suffer for your art type deal. And after finding out more, growing as a person, I was just like, maybe art doesn't have to come from such a dark place all the time. Art doesn't have to come from a place of like bad stuff. Could just be like you're having a good day, like you want to like express your good feelings and you put it onto a page. I think that's just as valid as if you're sad and you want to draw to release some emotions or express something as well. Yeah.
Then what are some of your favorite things to draw?
So I started drawing like superheroes mostly when I was a kid, and I still draw a lot of superheroes. But I think that like I've been moving, like I used to draw a lot of monsters too, but recently, because of the study with like color and stuff like that, I've been doing just more simplistic stuff, like just finding out like how to draw skin, or like most of the stuff that I've been doing recently is mostly just like faces, like portraits, kind of figure out like, what's the best way to make a person, like how to draw a person to a point where like I'm satisfied with how it looks. Like I would say like 90% of my commissions is Avatar. Like Avatar fans really love their
Wait,
franchise.
do you like Avatar?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I also like Avatar, but like I guess it's maybe because I've got so many good, like responses and feedback from like Avatar fans that I've just catered more towards them more so. So I've seen maybe like an increase. I feel like if I maybe cater towards like another different group, but like with commission art, it's very weird because sometimes you get like some really weird requests and you're just like, I don't know if I want to do this,
There's some of those weird ones.
just like not suitable for work stuff, and like you're just like, I don't know, because like that's not really like I know some artists do that, but like I've never drawn that and it's not really my cup of tea. So
I guess going back to Avatar, sorry. What do you
yeah, of course.
What's your favorite character?
He's a huge Avatar fan.
What's up?
He's a huge Avatar fan.
Oh yeah. That's hard.
Or what do you like about the series and just in general?
I think that like, it was always in the background when I was growing up, but I never really watched because I thought it was just a little kid with a blue arrow on his head, like whatever. And then the last year of college, I was living with a couple of roommates and they showed me Avatar, like just one episode, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool, And then I think during the pandemic, I was just like, why not? Let's give it a go, And then
Very similar to us as well.
yeah, so I watched it and I was just like, damn, good. And then so I was like, all right, let's watch Legend of Korra now. and so I go on Netflix. It's only 2 seasons of Korra on there for some reason. Only 1 and 2 is on there. So I watched those 2 and I stopped. It's just like I don't know, I was too lazy to find the other 2 seasons, I guess. And then like a couple months later, I was just like, I gotta know what happens, Then I watched season 3 and 4 on some like bootleg website or something like that. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think because I think the show does like just brings like a lot of like good messages for kids, and it does it in like a really well written and like delivered well, I guess. Yeah, like I think education for children is something that's very important, even though I don't like the current education system. I think that education itself is very important, and I think that Avatar teaches them like a lot of good lessons,
Yeah.
So, and then obviously Legend of Korra is a bit more adult, it's a bit more, it tackles more mature themes, and I think that's appropriate as well. I think it's great that the 2 creators can hit so many different points,
Yeah.
and like hit it well and correctly and like teach and not teach the wrong lessons, yeah.
I heard there's another possibly another, I don't know, episode or show coming later that they're making a new one. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like a new Avatar Studios now that they're making, and they're making more avatars, not the Netflix one, even though like at first I thought the Netflix one was gonna be like but now it's shaping up to be okay, maybe. I don't know, we'll see what happens.
I guess the next questions I have is what are some of your goals for your drawings, social media platforms you have?
Obviously to get more exposure like any other artist, but I think right now, for me at least, like views and or like followers and stuff like that, I don't think it's too important to me right now, at least, because like I've definitely seen like people who work for Marvel or like DC or like some big movie companies, and they only have like 2,000 followers on Instagram, but like their job would dictate otherwise. Obviously I want to get myself out there and be able to like draw more attention, but at the same time I think that it's also important for me to just keep working on technical stuff as well, just improving skills wise. But again, it's a balancing act, right? Like you got to do the marketing and you got to do both jobs, you know? So I think for me, maybe there's a bit of like fear involved as well, just like not knowing what to do in terms of like marketing and like selling yourself as a brand and stuff like that. But you know, I think I need to like talk to some people, you know, get some advice and stuff, you know, because you know I can't be knowledgeable on everything, you know. I gotta.
You plan to start a YouTube channel or anything like that?
I did at one point, you know, but like I just feel like the stuff that I make sometimes is just too generic, you know, like it's just like a time lapse of a drawing, you know, and I feel like there's more that I could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like you were talking about like cosplay, the stuff that you saw at the bottom of my Instagram, like the
Yeah.
like low-key armor and stuff like that. So like I think that like there's a part of me that's like maybe trying to like go back into that because I feel like I think there's a happy medium between my art and my prop making stuff that I can
Pretty
find.
cool. I was really impressed by it, honestly.
Yeah, I think that there is something that I can do there. I don't know, you know, I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll cosplay and draw at the same time. Who knows?
There's a lot of people who do time-lapse drawing on YouTube, and it's pretty popular too. So
Maybe I'll dress up like Loki and then draw Loki. You know?
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
cool, actually.
that'd be different.
yeah, yeah, maybe something. I'll think of something. But yeah, but then again, cosplay also takes money. It takes time.
That's true.
You know, so
Wait. Another question.
yeah,
You watch Loki?
I have not. I don't have Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
I borrowed my friends to watch What Ifs, and that's all I watched. But like, funny story though, I've actually seen Tom at a show in London.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Nice guy.
That's pretty cool. What was he there for?
He was there for a Shakespeare play called
Oh,
Coriolanus. It's about like a general, like a Roman general, I think,
mm-hmm.
who was like, I forgot what happens. I think he was betrayed by his country, so he went to like the enemy team to come back and kill his own people. Just it's was it? Is it? No, I don't know. I thought it was Shakespeare's bloodiest play, but I think that's Titus. Titus, I think, is Shakespeare's bloodiest play. It's just theater me talking. Whatever. Let's keep going.
You ever think about having like your own like art studio or something like that? Or is that way down the line?
I don't know. Because I've been working so much with digital stuff right now that you know a studio is not really required, you know, because but I think that I am going to start also shifting back towards traditional art because there is something that you cannot find within digital art. There's some, you know, it's kind of like those people who learn to drive manual and then once they got like an automatic car, they're just like, but I prefer the shifting of the gears, you know what I'm saying? Or like it's the person handling like a sniper rifle. It's like, I like the cocking mechanism. I don't like just automatic snipers. You know, it's kind of like that, you know, it's like you like there's something that's like, something like, I don't know, kind of like magical with just like working on it with your hands, you know, and there's like something that's like definite. Like once you put that mark down, like that's there. There's no erase tool to just make that disappear, you know? So yeah, there's a lot more thought and like a lot more, it takes time as well. Yeah. But I think it's more fun. I think it's more rewarding at the end as well.
If you had to go over like starting from, I don't know, like when you're younger to sort of like reach your goal, like drawing out, what would you have done differently to like
done differently? I think I would. So right now I'm trying to like go into like 3D modeling and 3D animation.
Oh wow.
I think that's what I would have wanted do like a lot earlier on. I think that just, but that's in hindsight, right? Because like of how much the world has changed in the past couple of years in terms of like movie technology and stuff like that, and like how important if you want a job in that industry, you know, that's kind of like some like very fundamental skills that you need to learn. And so, yeah, I guess that is something I wish I would have done a lot earlier. And also the color stuff, you know, I wish I would have learned color theory and like learning, because I'm still learning now about color, you know, like always like a constantly like ongoing learning process. But I feel like, you know, color is just such an important part of like art in general. You know, like when people look at a piece, like sure, some black and white pieces are beautiful to look at, but color is what really draws the eye sometimes, you know. And
Yeah.
so I wish I would have like learned that earlier as well.
What was it like for you in college? I'm not too sure if you stayed in one place in college or different colleges.
So yeah, I was in like in the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, which is like 2 hours south of Chicago. And yeah, I mean, I think college is one of those. I think for a lot of kids, I guess, college is probably one of the first times they live away from their parents, because like a lot of universities require you to live in the dorm for the first year, right? And so I think that's, a lot of times like kids really begin to like figure out who they are as a person during this like that first year, because they're really like separated away from their parents and they're like making their own decisions. They're dealing with problems on their own, for the first time. And yeah, just like a lot of like finding out who you are as a person during that time, mostly, making a bunch of mistakes as you would, and then yeah, trying to fix them. It's been a long time trying to fix mistakes.
So
But yeah,
it's overall it was enjoyable for you.
yeah, I would say, yeah, like I would say so. I think it's like, it's a pretty fun time, I would say. I think college for a lot of people usually should be, like a rather enjoyable part of their life, right? Because after that, after the real world, good luck,
You want to share your experience in college?
I mean, I was like just grinding, studying, so it was
I
not.
mean, there's two, but like, look, if you were like me during the first year where you partied so much, I got kicked out of school because my GPA was so low. I worked so hard to get back in. So there's two sides. You know what I'm saying? Pros and cons.
So like you were in college in the US, and now you're back in Canada. Which one do you prefer?
I'm gonna piss off a lot of people on one side.
Gotta stir it up a little bit. No.
It's hard to say. I think I would say that's hard. Um, I've only been back in Canada for like just over a year so far, and it's all been like half of it has been like mostly pandemic, so I've just been in my house most of the time. Still not a lot of chance to like explore, and so I was last in Canada like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So my perspective as a child viewing Canada and my perspective as an adult viewing America, that comparison, I would say I like Canada more.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then I think one of the reasons I came, like, not to say that America wasn't like a big, cultural melting pot as well, but Canada is just, it's known for like how multicultural it is. And I think me growing up, I was never really a fan of like cliques, how like, like you go around on campus, it's just see like all of the Asian kids sticking around with the Asian kids, or like all of the, Latino kids with the Latino, I get like they're all just together and it's fun sometimes, but I enjoy like a big mix of people from different walks of life. I enjoy that environment more, because there's been times when I'm invited to like a party and it's all just like Chinese people or like, and I'm just like, that's great, I look like you, but like we have so little in common to talk about, like I grew up in Canada, England, the US, and they all grew up in one place, and like our conversation just eventually dwindles down because there's not a lot to say.
Yeah.
And like, but like maybe because it was just at a party, there's not a lot to like really talk. I felt like if I sat down one-on-one, we could talk about more. But at a party is just hard sometimes, yeah. In a social setting, I guess.
So you mentioned that you like to draw, or you drew superheroes starting out. What was your favorite superhero or favorite villain, if you want to go that route too?
So I think every kid grew up liking Spider-Man. I think that's just pretty basic. But I had a PS2 as a kid, and there was this game called Ultimate Alliance. And then on that game was where I first found Deadpool. And then so I've been a fan of Deadpool since then for like the longest time. And then the movie got made and everybody likes Deadpool now. And so, I used to like Deadpool, I guess. I still do, But yeah, I think like Deadpool, Spider-Man, and then I used to really like Thor as a kid as well. Iceman from X-Men. And then villains, I got into DC a bit later, and I think DC has better villains. I really like the Joker, obviously, and then I like Deathstroke. Yeah, so those, Deathstroke and Deadpool, like the rip-offs of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are probably my favorites, I would say.
Do you feel like you identify with a villain or a superhero?
I don't know. Villains more, maybe? Is that a good thing to say? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think especially with today's movies and TV, they've been trying to justify so many villains as like
True.
goals and stuff like that. You know, I think the idea of being a villain is not so bad anymore. Normalize being a villain.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to make their backstories a little better too for some things too. Instead
Yeah. I mean, like that's more true to life though, right? Like nobody's just like evil for evil's sake. Everyone's got like a purpose or something. No one's just like darkness all the time,
if someone were to sort of like start out like wanting to get into sort of like digital art or like illustration, like what would you tell them?
I would say, I guess like, I think a lot of times people would be like, I can't even draw a stick figure. I'm so bad at drawing. I think stick figures are a great way to start, I think just having circle and lines and then building off that very basic stick figure shape, I think is a very great way to learn because that's kind of how I did it. Like just like drawing like more shapes for the torso, giving the torso more volume instead of just a line, same thing with the arms, and then kind of work up from there. And I think also just like, I think fundamental is good because you can doodle anywhere. You can doodle on the little corner piece of your notebook. You can, I think it's good. And then I think digital art, you could start. I don't think there's any difference between starting like digital or starting fundamentally. I just think that fundamental is just more accessible because you can find pen and paper anywhere. You're not going to have a screen everywhere with you to draw. What else would be good for starting? I guess start color early. Do color early. That's a piece of good advice. Start color early. And then I guess proportions.
Mm.
I think that's probably the biggest thing for a lot of people. I guess it's proportions, but people see things differently, right? Some people when they look at a face, they focus on the nose or they focus on the eyes. And so when they're drawing it, they'll subconsciously make the eyes a little bigger or make the nose like a little, a little more prominent or like whatever. So I guess it's really having to like figure out like, maybe like read some books, watch some like YouTube videos on like human like ratio, and then just study human anatomy, I would guess, how muscles work, what attaches to what, what parts. Because I remember for the longest time, I had a really hard time drawing like here, where the shoulder connects into like your lats and all that stuff. I had a really hard time figuring that out. There's like those like little webs that come here, like those muscles. And like I had a really hard time like figuring out all that. But like after like studying, just drawing that part of the human body for a while, you get more in tune with it. Yeah. And then I don't know, maybe same thing with animals too. Some people just draw animals too. So I guess the muscle structure and skeletal structures of things. Other than that, just practice, because some people just like abstract stuff, and then they just like to throw colors on a page. And that's more expressive than skill-based, that's more about like, yeah. So two different ways of drawing.
Sounds like it's a lot of practice, a lot of like trial and error, just like keep drawing basically.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing with like cosplay and arting, and just like that's a lot of material spent just doing like the practice stuff, But that's important, I think like even in college when I was learning to do like the theater stuff, like part of our processes was to have like a smaller canvas and that you could test stuff on to see if this will work actually on a large scale, So it's always important to have practice runs, to have trial runs. It's always important to at least fail a couple times before so you know exactly what not to do. Yeah.
Before we end, I wanted to ask another question. What do you like to watch?
What do I like to watch? So I think I told you I watched What If, the Marvel's What If recently. I've been really liking animation so far recently. I've watched The Invincibles or Invincible off Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
What have I watched recently? I got peer pressure into Squid Game.
Did you like it?
I'm like halfway through it, and yeah, it's pretty much what I expected. But there's some twists and turns that I didn't see coming, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. Most of the stuff that I watch is like more like fantastical or like whatever. And then yeah, I don't know. I like animations a lot. Like Avatar, Korra. All the stuff I mentioned so far have been like animation stuff. And then obviously I watch a bunch of superhero stuff in general. And then I've been trying to get into some animes, but I really haven't watched that many animes in my life, which
Oh,
is surprising. But like I've watched only like a few. And then otherwise, what I like to watch sometimes is reaction videos, like people's reaction to things
like
sometimes.
to movies and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about I don't know. It's like a very like psychoanalyst in me.
You're talking about like them watching the show or movie.
Yeah,
them-
yeah. I think I think maybe it's just me like trying to like figure out like better ways to tell a story, better ways to present something. What's the best way to like milk that emotion from your audience? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. That's mostly kind of what I watch. And then sometimes I would watch, but like sometimes I when I come home usually I would just game sometimes. I play games more than I would like watch stuff sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you
And
play?
I don't really play a lot of multiplayer games either. I just like to like I like open world games. But the one I'm playing right now is the Jurassic Park game that just came out recently, where you build your own park. It's like
Oh,
a
nice.
management game. It's a lot more math than I anticipated, which I'm not.
Oh no.
But dinosaurs are cool. So yeah.
Nice.
Mike
I'm
plays
a
games.
gamer too. I've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic. The
Oh, for sure. Like, aren't they remastering that or something? Some shit like
yeah, the first one, but I'm playing like the MMO one,
like
and
the old one, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The only Star Wars game I have is the Battlefront 2 one. And I hop on it like every once in a while.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just don't play that many multiplayer games. I play a lot of Assassin's Creed. I really like history
Oh.
because, like, I think throughout theater, learning theater and set design, a lot of it is just history. A lot of it is just learning what time periods use what architecture, use what clothing, blah 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 blah. So, and then when I jumped in like my first Assassin's Creed game, I was just like, that's everything I learned, and it's here, it's there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And so
tactical.
afterwards, I was just I was pretty hooked. So yeah.
Wow. Nice. Is there anything that you want to let the audience know about you, or just like where to find you and things like that?
Yeah, my Instagram is my name, Leon Kali, Leonkoli. I don't really have anything else like social media wise right now. Like I'm trying to maybe like boost my YouTube channel when I get back into it, but I have to come up with a good idea again. I just don't feel like I'm making anything like worth presenting right now yet, Plus I'm working. I'm trying to figure out my work schedule, and just hard trying to like make work and art fit together right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Instagram, that's probably the only thing you can find me right now. And then I'm on like a bunch of Facebook groups for like certain things, for different things, from like avatar to like video games to movies to like whatever. And then I go in there and I post art stuff usually, and I make art whenever I feel like it and share with everybody. Yeah. Oh, and I guess another good tip for people who are trying to find commissions for art is that I think a lot of artists are too passive. You gotta like be aggressive, go out and find your audience. Go find that one person in that one group who's looking for a one piece. Cause man, because that man is willing to pay $80 for your drawing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Be aggressive, go find your customers. Don't sit there and wait for them to come to you. Go find them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll put the information on your Instagram in the description for the video where the audience can find you.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks again, Leon, for joining us today in this interview, just telling us how to get into digital art and just a little bit about yourself as well.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, guys. See ya.
See
All
ya.
right. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you again, guys, for listening to the Twin Dragons podcast. If you guys want to know more about a topic or want us to do a specific video, let us know in the comments below.
And please like and subscribe if you want to help support us. Keep a lookout on our social media accounts so that you can keep up to date with any new episodes that come out and get connected. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.